Hi everyone. Let me share my screen here. I, if you saw my message, you saw that Zoom didn't record last night. So I am making a second recording now of the opening. I'm going to try and make it really short though. So if you have any questions, you can email me. And if I don't cover something, first of all, welcome to the course. And this is the link to Canvas, but you've probably been there already. Also out in Canvas, you'll see a second Canvas course that I've created called LDT 832 Sandbox. This is one where you have complete access as an instructor, so be careful not to delete other people's stuff in there. And you can create a folder in there, and you can create an entire universe inside that folder then of Canvas things. So that's what the Sandbox is for. We also use it for the webinar discussion that's going to be on June 20th. As you know, this is an 8 weeks course that runs from June 11th to August 8th. There is a textbook. Someone told me they were able to buy it used on Amazon for $15, and they had shipping free because they have Amazon Plus. So you can look around for deals and get it, but we do use Horton's textbook quite a bit, so be sure and get it. There's also Google Drive, which you've probably seen already. There are a number of discussions in Google Drive, and we can share folders inside of Google Drive. And I have all of your Gmail addresses now, and they're in Canvas if anybody needs to see them in our sandbox. And also every day in the morning I try to get on Yammer and just yammer around with you guys. So it's a good way to share quick ideas that we have and things like that. We'll talk more about Yammer too when we get to lesson 4. Course description, the idea is that we hope to cover, or we will cover content that has to do with designing instruction inside of course management systems. But also we're interested in open education resources. So we're looking also for things that you'll be able to use on Monday morning in your own classroom. And we'll share these with each other. And then hopefully when you leave this course, you'll have a whole repertoire of things that you can use immediately, ideas, strategies, and also tools. This is sort of a visual of how the course goes. You're sort of flexing between reading theory and then trying it out yourself with labs and just with open education resources. It's very much discussion based. There are a number of projects though that spin out across the 8 weeks. Right away, I'd like you to do the intro video. It's only 2 minutes. It's in VoiceThread. The link is inside of Canvas in the first module there. So you just click it, VoiceThread opens. You read the first screen or two that tells you how to use VoiceThread. On the third or the fourth screen, you just click this icon at the bottom and record your video. If you don't like it, just delete it and record it. But the idea is for us to get to know each other. You'll be asked to initiate moderated discussion, so you get to pick that off of the list with the one you want to do. There are 4 papers. There's a CMS paper that's due at the end of lesson 3. There's a Blue Sky paper that's due at the end of lesson 11. There is a social network and a reflection paper, 2 papers that are due at the end of the class on August 8th. All of these 4 papers are 2-page double space. So the idea is not to write a dissertation on this. It's to summarize the activities and the things we've read and talked about and up to that point in your own experiences, and then put it into a 2-page paper. It's a way of getting your brain to synthesize all this stuff that's going into it at every couple of weeks period. There is a CMS lesson to be designed, but because it's summer, it's going to be really small. At the end of the course, the week before the end of the course, it's going to be really small. It can be in Canvas inside our sandbox if you like. If you have your own CMS that you like to use, like Google School or one at your work or whatever, it's okay to do it there, as long as we can have access to go and peer review it, because all of us will sign up to peer review 4 of your peers in the class. So you'll get to see 4 others, and to be able to peer review, we have to be able to see it. So you can use any CMS you want. You, of course, can use the Canvas sandbox. We all have access to that. But if you're using your own CMS, make sure that we have guest privileges to go see it. Each week, you'll do some reading. You'll be online talking and discussing. You'll be online looking for resources and things. And also, there's an activity where you participate in a professional or hobbyist social network. That's the social network paper, which we'll talk about in a second. Here are the point values. So the introduction video is worth 5% of the grade, so it's only 2 minutes. Go out there and do it right now. Just get it done. Discusser, being a moderator of the discussion is worth 10%. So you'll sign up, you'll prepare the materials that we'll discuss, you'll send us an email telling us at the beginning of the week where it is and how to get to it, what you want us to do. We'll discuss for the week, you moderate it, watch us, prompt us to be, you know, to really say stuff, and then at the end of the week, summarize it. And that's worth 10 points. Participation, we're an 8-week course, it's worth 10 points, so that's about 1 point a week. So us all going out and replying in your discussion, when we all go out there and do that, that's worth about a point. So I'll try and keep up with that. The community resource list and the resource list weekly report. Community resource list is when you're going around looking for open education resources or good ideas or strategies or anything that's helpful in your environment, you put it into the resource list. It's called the resource list, and it's in our Google Docs folder. It's a spreadsheet. So you put it in there with the link, and that way, at the end of the course, we're going to have this spreadsheet that you can all take that has 5 from each of us. So we'll have 100 useful things that, you know, I won't need all 100, but I bet there'll be 5 or 10 of them that I could really use that I've never seen before. So that's called crowdsourcing. Whenever you have the folks in the community of inquiry come together with the good ideas that we can all share. As part of that, though, in week 4 on June 25th, we're going to go into Yammer and talk about our favorite resource. So for a week, we'll be in Yammer talking about these resources that we're providing. It could be as simple as just a rubric that you like to use when you're writing. It could be as complicated as telling us about Slack or some artificial intelligence software you're using. It doesn't make any difference. It's like all of those have value within your professional setting. All right, the CMS paper is due on the 24th. Like I said, it's a summary. I sent you earlier a document, and it's also in Canvas called Course Assessment, and I'll send it again, but it describes each paper with a paragraph. So if you read that paragraph, you'll understand what it is that we're looking for with each of the 4 papers that are due. Social networking paper is interesting. It's 5 points, but it's divided into 1 point and 4 points. The 1 point is due on June 24th. All it is basically a sentence that says, this is the social network that I'm going to participate in for the next 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. And you can get in there and work, you can get in there and be active, whatever you want to do, but the idea is to experience it. And then you'll write the final network paper. You can see that towards the bottom. Let's see if this mouse works. And it's due on August 8th. And that's where you talk about the experiences you have in the social network with the eye towards thinking, how could I use an experience like this in my own professional practice? If I'm a corporate trainer, then how could I use it on the people that I'm training? If I'm a teacher, how can I use it with the other teachers that I'm training or with students in my class? How can I take advantage of any kind of social network? I belong to one on Google. It's called Google Technology Coordinators. And so this is a group of hundreds of technology coordinators across the United States. And I'll go in and people say, oh my God, you know, I just had 100 iPads arrived at the loading dock and the principal said, come get them. I'm supposed to integrate them into the 3rd grade classes. And I didn't even know they were coming. So they say, help me, what's the first thing I should do? And so we'll all get in there and give them advice about what's the first thing they should do, how to do it logistically, how to check them out. Everybody has different ideas. And so this person very quickly gets some really good ideas. So that's the kind of network, but it doesn't have to be a professional network. It could be a hobby network. Like, for instance, we've had people who are marathon runners join a network. If you have a hobby that you like, let's say stamp collecting, it doesn't make any difference. All social networks sort of have the same sort of identity functions and help between individuals. It's about making connections it's the global village. It's about making connections amongst peers who share common interests so that you can all learn and gain more about this particular common interest. So that's the social network, paper and participation. We talked about the peer review and the CMS lesson, so I'll move on. Here are the dates again. I'll just blast over this, but here's the dates for the different things, the 4 papers. Blaise Pascal said, I've only made this letter longer because I've not had the time to make it shorter. Remember, we're going from 2 pages double spaced. And not only that, but we're going to post the CMS paper and the social network paper and the Blue Sky paper on Google. So you're going to go to a document after you post it where everybody else's is, and we're going to go through and see what people are saying. So it's a way of saying, who's your audience? Is it Roy? No, it's not Dr. C. You're each other's audience when you're writing these papers. And I'm just a member of that audience. The other big assignments, you're going to be an initiator and moderator of a discussion. I mentioned that. I'll talk about it in the next slide. You're going to design a lesson. The lesson also has two pieces. There's a prep due July 15th. All the prep is one or two sentences that say what the topic is and who the audience is. But it's getting you to commit so that you'll start working on it rather than waiting till the last week to work on it. Then the lesson is finally due on 2 weeks later on the 29th of July. It can be really short because it's summer. All you need to do is have some kind of content somehow or another, whether it's reading content or audio content or a YouTube video or something, some sort of an interaction with that content and some sort of an assessment. Now, if you want to do more than that, that's okay. If you want to design something for your real environment, that's okay. But there is the minimum set that we're looking for. What's the advantage of doing a bigger one? Well, if you're going to really use it in your setting, you're going to have 4 people that peer review it. So here's a chance for you to have sort of a pilot of your own materials, and people could say, well, that's too long, that's too short, I'd do this. Have you considered this? I mean, there's all these things that your peers are going to recommend to you that can be very helpful. So there are advantages of keeping it short so you don't go crazy, but there are advantages of making it bigger if you can do it as part of work because you can get a peer review. Moderating a discussion. You'll sign up for a topic. You'll get smart about the topic by reading the chapter in the book or whatever it is. You'll come up with maybe some questions for us to answer. The best question you can ask, by the way, is how have you used this in your professional setting? And then get us to tell you how we think we can use it or how we have used it. So that's a really good question. How do you deliver your discussion? Any way you want to. You can use Google Sandbox and just have a regular Canvas discussion. You can use Google Docs the way that we're going to do it this week or are doing it. You can use Yammer as a discussion. You can use Zoom as a discussion for synchronous if you want to try and get us to meet. You can use VoiceThread. We'll practice with VoiceThread next week. So if you like PowerPoint, you could have your discussion in VoiceThread. So you get it ready. On the first day of your discussion, you send us the email link and tell us what to do. I think I've already mentioned that. We discuss during the week. You keep us going. At the end of the week, summarize the discussion, then you're done. This is a really important document. This is a document that keeps me going in the course. It tells us each week and what we're doing each week. And so you can see that this week, week 1, and by the way, it's in Google Docs and it's called CMS Logistics. You can see that Darren is doing the Siemens article on LMS, the wrong place to start, and Nicole is doing Open for Learning by Mod and Wiley. These are Google Docs discussions where you go in and comment, answer questions, and so on. Then you can see next week some people have signed up too, so we can talk more about that next week. But one important thing, notice that there's a webinar on June 20th. Usually the webinar is in lesson 4, but this webinar that I wanted us to do is called 500 LMSs in the World. How do you know which one to pick? I thought it was very appropriate for this course. And so you'll need to go and sign up at Training Mag Network, and it's free. And they'll start sending you emails saying, did you know we have these things? And so after the webinar, you can just unsubscribe from their email and you won't see it anymore. But we'll get into there. We'll take advantage of Training Magazine Network's webinar on this. If you're available on June 20th, which is a Wednesday at noon, you can watch it live and see what that webinar is like. If not, the day after, I'll take the recording and I'll post it in Sandbox so that you can watch the recording of it. So the point of this is twofold. One is to see how webinars go, and then to have a discussion, a class discussion about what works and what doesn't. Why? So that when you do a seminar, you'll be able to do the best seminar ever. You'll learn from their mistakes, but also learn from the things that work for them. Notice that there's another Zoom meeting on Wednesday, on week 3. But this is actually it says virtual class, but really it's office hours. So I'm going to go back and change that. So any time you see Zoom from after lesson 1, it's going to be virtual office hours. You can come. If you have any questions, I'll answer them synchronously live. If you don't have any questions, that's okay. I'll try and remember to record it. You can see Zoom meetings at 5, 7, and 8, and those are going to be virtual office hours. So I'll change that. So this is a great document for you to both sign up and to be able to know what we're doing each week. Just very quickly at the end, I wanted to show you that Canvas runs inside of an iPad. You can download the Canvas app. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like on my Dell Chrome with the Chrome browser. Notice over on the left-hand side, we have a link to our VoiceThread site. We have a link to Google Drive on the left-hand navigation. We have a link to our Yammer group. We have a link to this Zoom meeting room and so on. Modules is the main thing you want to check out to see all the different activities. You go into a module, do the activities each week, and it should work pretty good. Hopefully there's no mistakes. And also announcements. I'll try and put announcements in every Sunday night about what we're doing, and that way it's a second way of informing you about what's going on. This is our sandbox. The sandbox has a Gmail list, and then you can see the second thing is the June 20th webinar. This is where we'll have our discussion, but out in the sandbox, you can sign up for the discussion there too. This is our Google Drive folder. You can see that inside Module 1 are the readings 1 and 2 for this week, and then the readings 3 and 4 for next week. So you click on the module, there it is. You can see our logistics document that I referred to earlier. Here's our CMS resources I told you about. Here's where you'll put your CMS 2-page paper. You'll paste it into this Google Doc. And here's where you'll paste your Blue Sky Vision later. Right now it's empty. You'll just put it in. So there you go. That's what our Google Drive looks like. Every morning I'm going to try and be on Yammer in a group called LDT 832 CMS Designs. We can just talk back and forth and get ideas. During Lesson 4, we'll actually use this to have a discussion about open education resources, all of us at once, just to see what it's like to do Yammer as a big classroom discussion. And that's it. So I hope this was informative. I hope I didn't go too fast. If you have any questions, just email me and I'll reply back to you. And let me kill the recording. Please tell me that that all recorded. And stop sharing. And stop the recording.